Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. What a Sunday, Championship Sunday in the books. Congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals of the AFC. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams of the NFC. We have a matchup now, 2 weeks from now in the Super Bowl in LA. Very excited to break it all down. We got Jimmy in here. We're gonna have Kieran come in a little bit to just wrap his fans, as fans of football. This is what we asked for in terms of in entertainment this time of the year, and the NFL has delivered, through and through. So, quickly, want to give a shout out to BUSR, BUSR.com/fanatic. You guys see the link there. It's promo code Sports100FP. 100% free play match. There is a 5-time rollover, so please be cognizant of that. Please bet responsibly, but 100% free play match. BUSR.com/fanatic. Awesome partners. I personally use them as my sports book. And, we had some really cool prop bets today. Those of you who follow on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, I don't know why not. Hit Fan Perspective on Twitter. Follow us on there. I actually hit on my Cooper Kupp prop bet. First touchdown scored in the game. And so shout out to BUSR. We hit on we had some really cool prop bets. Juan Thornhill over 4.5 tackles, finished with 6 tackles, hit on that. So I had the 49ers plus 3.5.
Eesh.
And we drove it home. And my father-in-law, I want to give a quick shout out to my father-in-law. He placed his first bet today. He had a work trip to Cincinnati this week, got caught in some snow, was able to get back. And he says, I'm going to make my first bet ever. I want to bet Bengals money line. That was his first ever bet. And he put $50 straight up Bengals money line. I was like, whoa. You just jumping right into gambling, brother.
And he's hooked now. He's hooked.
And he hit. So, it was a really fun Sunday across the board. Shout out to BUSR. So I got Jimmy in here. I got Kieran in here. Kieran, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. I was still just a little shocked by the over-under on tackles for a
Juan Thornhill
player. I mean, hey, to each his own, but like, damn, that's pretty serious betting that you got going on right there. You're hitting too, so I don't know. It is what it is.
Next level stats.
There was some analytics that went into the Juan Thornhill bet, but I was happy to end up on the right side of that one. Yeah. So I see Harsh in here. So it looks like Harsh, we're back in good graces. I know we were, tough day for you and your Chiefs. I saw Richard Walker in here. I would like for Richard Walker to tap in as well, who is a big San Francisco 49ers fan. And he said up top, I'll actually put his comment first and then I'll get to the super chat. He said up top, I'm here to talk when we win, so I can be humble when we lose, make no excuses about his 49ers. That's what being a real football fan is all about. So nothing but respect to you, brother. Appreciate you coming on because I know a lot of people that come on the channel, talk trash, and leave, and I never see him again. Never hear from him again once their team, takes a L. Let me address this super chat. Thank you for the donation. Steve, love the content. Amazing playoffs. Hoping we lock in Von Campbell Wednesday. Fingers crossed. Good vibes.
Yeah.
Good vibes. Fingers crossed.
It's that soon, huh?
It's that time of year. But hey, let's talk about Championship Sunday. Jimmy, I'm gonna go to you first. Just coming out the gate. You know what? Let's start with. I like to work backwards. So let's start Rams 49ers first, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Especially since you were watching the game with a buddy of yours that was 49ers fan, and we'll just kind of just wrap from there.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Chris. I mean, he didn't get a chance to go to the Cowboys and Niners game because of the dreaded COVID. So today was his chance to rerun that against the stupid Rams that he loves so much. We got to watch them play in Week 18 together at SoFi. It was a lot of fun. The crowd wasn't as crazy as Week 18, so I just want to throw that out there first because I know there's a lot of people that said it would be. It's going to be about 75-25 Niners fans. It was not. Didn't have to go to a snap count like last time. So, LA did what they had to do. They had to do what they had to do. It was still like 50-50 probably, but it probably wasn't like 75-25 or 60-40 like it was in week 18.
They went silent count one time. I remember they went silent count one time on that Cooper Kupp.
It was like the whole game in week 18 though. It was bad. It was bad. Like I think I told Steve before, the fans for the Rams felt the need to out cheer the Niners fans, which led to more cheering for the Niners when they were on defense. So it was just bad football for them on their part. But they did what they had to do. They got it at least managed. I don't think they did a great job, but they managed it. But football game wise, it was a back and forth game. It was a defensive battle. I don't think I expected as a defensive battle as what we saw. In week 18, they came right out of the gate, went up 17-0 on the Niners. They had to come all the way back. There was a lot of points scored. It was a track meet. This time around, it just felt like nobody could get an inch. Debo was held to like 40 yards in the first half. It was, he got popped, knocked the wind off. I mean, they were playing physical. I got to give credit to the Rams. Like they kind of met them to the punch in terms of the safeties coming downhill and being physical. So I was impressed with that. My buddy that was a Niners fan didn't find them very physical, but I mean, I thought they looked different. So, anyways, I thought all in all, it was a game that I expected in the sense of like, I think I told Steve offline that a couple times I was like, Jimmy G's pick's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And boy, did it come when it mattered most. And I think Steve even tweeted out, this is a legacy drive right here for him. And 100%, I said, he's either going to be their quarterback next year based on this drive, or he's not going to be their quarterback based on this drive. And he did what we thought he would do. They are who we thought they were. We know what Jimmy G is, right?
Yeah.
And it just took 3 weeks to get it done. And he won't be a 49er quarterback. I can guarantee you that next year. I really don't think so. And it's literally because of that situation. When you need your quarterback to win the game, he's not that dude. That's it.
Yeah. I completely agree. Man, late in that game though, it was pretty tough though, because when you saw that when you saw that the Rams weren't going to score a touchdown there, they went for the run. I genuinely believe they wouldn't call that conservative of a game plan if they knew that it was any other quarterback on the other side other than Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, 100%. Take the chance with your defense. As far as 49ers fans are concerned, I honestly think they should just show up to the Super Bowl. They should just wait another week and just torment both of those fan bases because they have done enough damage this year. Yep. The only trip they didn't make was up to Lambeau because, I mean, who wants to go watch a football game in negative 3-degree weather? But good God, the Cowboys one was straight pain. Looking at this game, though, defensively, the Rams are just such a special unit on the line. It's unbelievable. Kyle Shanahan, crazy. Just unbelievable coach, unbelievable scheme. A lot of people might see this as like another choke job for him. I don't see it that way at all. I can't see it like that.
He overachieved.
No, 100%. They definitely overachieved. I mean, beating the Cowboys, they beat two teams that I think are more capable,
talented.
I wouldn't even say talented though, just because Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and that running game and the 49ers offensive line is special. It's really, really special. But not the 49ers, but the Rams, however, my goodness, Matthew Stafford has been on fire in the fourth quarter this entire playoffs, and he's special, man. Like I'm so happy to see it. I was in the office watching it with a couple of my coworkers. One of my coworkers is a diehard Lions fan. He was crying. Literally, he's just so happy for Matt Stafford because he knew, like, yo, this is like a huge moment for him. He's finally getting the recognition. And those of us that like grew up in Texas and knew about this kid, watched him at Georgia and knew about this kid, we knew like, yeah, he's playing for the Lions. It's not like he's not special. I know Stephen A had a lot of stuff to say. It was just like, he better not lose to no porn star Jimmy or whatever. But in retrospect, though, like Matt Stafford is getting it done in the fourth quarter. I have some very interesting thoughts on what the Super Bowl is going to look like. But, oh, my goodness, the Rams, they seem like the team of destiny this year.
They went all in.
Yeah.
They did.
They said, we don't care about the salary cap. We damn sure don't care about draft picks. We are going to do whatever it takes. I mean, they're one of the older teams in the league with some of the personnel they rely on. They signed Eric Weddle to come back. You know, Whitworth is out there, and you know, we talk about how old Tom Brady is. I think
they're playing a 40-year-old left tackle.
You have a 40-year-old left tackle, right?
He got banged up in the game
Super Bowl too. It's the Whitworth Super Bowl. He played. He played the most of his career in Cincinnati. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
and he's the LSU boy.
Yep.
There's so many weird ties going on. We'll try to jump into as much as this as possible, but no, what the Rams did, Les Snead and all those guys there, they went all in. They went all in with the Stafford trade. Then they paid Stafford all in, man. They went all in. Now it's not necessarily all in financially for Odell Beckham Jr., but in terms of that at that time with what was happening in Cleveland, obviously Odell
was in purgatory. He was in
purgatory
in Cleveland.
Man's entered the transfer portal.
Yes, sir.
Because he literally entered the transfer portal because he was not reporting to Cleveland. And the reason why I say that at the time they took a risk because at the time there was a perception that Odell fell off. Odell doesn't really love ball like that anymore. There was a lot of those takes out there, and that could lead to, oh, you're putting Odell in LA, all these distractions. Yeah. Could he derail the locker room? Could he actually come in there and, you know, and from day one, to his credit, the first time he was there with the Rams and Matthew Stafford, and that's what you have to give credit to the Rams organization, the leadership on the team. Odell, you know, they ingratiated. They both ingratiated with each other, but you realize Odell does. I mean, at least from what we've seen on the Rams, he seems to be re-energized. He seems to be very engaged. And almost trying to prove I'm not a malcontent. I actually can be that guy that y'all have seen in the NFL. Yeah. And it's clearly it's made Cleveland look some type of way, to be honest with you. But you know, that's another conversation for another day. But the point is, the Rams went all in, all chips in to get this done to the quarterback, right? You know, and that's why you see somebody tweeted this, and I thought it was a great point. The reason why the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford is the same reason why the 49ers picked Trey Lance at number 3. Mm-hmm. It's the same reason.
Exactly.
It's the same reason why they know that they got to move off Jimmy G, right? I mean, you have that limit at this level. The margin in both of these football games, there's no margin.
Yeah.
Right? Today, you know, we can get to the drop pick. Tart, you know, because Matthew Stafford, as much as I love Matthew, he will throw those YOLO balls himself.
Yep.
And he threw one, and that was almost like catching a punt, you know, directly at you. Drop it. Margin is thin. Nick Bolton in the Chiefs game, as well as, you know, I'm all in. We'll get to Joe Burrow, the swag, everything. Joe Burrow made a ridiculously bad throw, but they don't make them pay. Yeah. And the very next play, he runs for 15 yards in the game. You know,
hey, to be good, you got to be lucky sometimes.
You got to be lucky.
Ask Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
I'm not gonna go into it.
But hey, here's the thing. Like I said, this game beforehand, this Rams-Niners game was going to be literally a tale of the quarterback tape, right? Who's going to make the most mistakes? Now they both threw a pick. But in this particular situation, it basically came down to when Jimmy threw the pick. So sometimes it comes like that. But you're right. Matt should have had a second one. And had he thrown that second one, they probably lose this game.
I believe they lose the game.
There's so many close things, especially in playoff games and important moments that you have to capitalize on the big, marginal. It's everything's so small, and like the smallest little details and the smallest little things can completely affect the pace of the game. I mean, we saw it with the other game. I know we'll get into that later, but
Kieran, as far as this Rams game that are off the hook, i.e. Sean McVay.
Yeah. Let's not forget Jaylen Ramsey dropped that pick.
About Sean McVay and Jaylen Ramsey.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's like it's crazy. But then again, like it's the playoffs. You get it done no matter what. Doesn't matter how ugly it is. You got to get it done no matter what. And to the point about Odell that we were speaking about earlier, man, like I'm so happy for the dude. The dude's in a Super Bowl now. He had a 100-yard game in an NFC championship performance. Everybody tried to make him out to be the villain. And I'm so sorry. I don't buy the you're a bad locker room guy narrative. When you're running with 4.4 speed down the field and breaking off people and beating double coverage and not getting the ball, you know how aggravating that has to be for a wide receiver? Sprinting up and down the field every single Sunday and losing football games because your quarterback is completely incompetent and or incapable of getting you the football when you're open and capable of making plays. It's a terrible situation to be in. And of course, the wide receiver gets viewed as the villain. But this dude on Progressive commercials is over here getting out the hook. I'm not here for the OU slander, but y'all know that boy is not good. Also, one more thing. One of my producer said this today, and I thought it was genius. And now that I believe the Jimmy G and 49ers era is over, I feel like it's a hilarious and great take. Jimmy G is Linguini from Ratatouille, and Kyle Shanahan is the rat pulling all the strings. It's the perfect example. He's the person that's getting in the way, and you know what I mean? Like, he has to really just pull him around and make him do things. It's just, he's all for show at the same time. Like, the fact that the 49ers got to this point should have Kyle Shanahan completely out of any sort of hot water that he possibly was in earlier on this season. The fact that they made the playoffs at the end of the day, dealing with the injuries that they did throughout the season. The fact that they beat the Cowboys. They went on the road, beat the Cowboys, went on the road, beat the Packers, and then went on the road and almost beat the Rams, who are a better team than them.
For the third
time. Exactly. For the third time.
time.
It's like that Kyle Shanahan is an elite head football coach. And me personally, I thought if you wanted to move forward, you got to take the most talented guy, which I thought was Justin Fields, but we'll see what Trey Lance does. I don't know if that's the best, because although Kyle Shanahan is an amazing coach, his quarterback evaluations have been sketchy in the past. If you go back and look at it, they have been. But no, as far as the Rams are concerned, though, I feel like they're the team of destiny. I really do. They have so much talent on the defensive side of the ball. Aaron Donald wants a ring like crazy. I mean, the fact that he was energetic, jumping up, pointing at his finger hard, like afterwards, I was like, damn, dude, you gonna break a finger doing that? But yeah, they want to play.
I wouldn't want him yelling at me like that. In my face.
They have hungry veterans though.
Like, that's he the thing. Was ready to whoop somebody's ass on the sideline.
Definitely.
Like, we're not going to lose this game, bro.
No, absolutely not. And now they get to play in the Super Bowl at their home stadium. Could be back-to-back years where the team in the home stadium wins the Super Bowl. Wild times that we live
after
in.
Not having that. Now we have it back-to-back years. Shout out to Huston Sandish from inside Texas. You guys that are my Texas Longhorn fans, please, please, please go and show those guys some love. And, you know, if you're looking for reliable information on Texas Longhorns, paid sites, they're the best in the business at what they do. And Hudson is – you know, it's a big week for Hudson because we have signing day. So he's on top of everything over there. And, you know, the connect and the source for all of us as Texas fans. So appreciate him blessing us here in the chat.
Hudson's enjoying that one last night before he got to go to hell next.
He's going to hell next week for sure.
I'm sorry.
Hey, man, when Debo got popped over the middle with that flag, that to me was a moment. Like, that was – because Debo has been punking people the last couple of weeks.
Running through
and
he did at times today. I mean, his touchdown was unreal. Just on a quick screen pass, and he's running through dudes. It seemed like whenever they really wanted to still, but I agree, Jimmy. I think at certain points, I think this whole playoff kind of progression for the Rams and Sean McVay and this whole crew was as much psychological as it was what they had to prove physically. They have the physical pieces. They got we just talked about Odell. We got to talk about Cooper Kupp here in a second and how elite he is, right? They got Matthew Stafford. You know, we talk about arm talent. Matthew Stafford's in the conversation with anybody when it comes to how beautiful the football looks coming off of his hand. They got the physical. This was about overcoming all of these mental demons that you know, collectively as a group. Sean McVay never beating Kyle Shanahan. It's kind of similar to Kirby Smart and Saban over the years, just always not being able to get over the hump with a former, you know, boss. And it's kind of funny because he's going to the Super Bowl to face his old offensive coordinator and Zach Taylor, where they got punked in a Super Bowl against the Patriots. And now they're both playing each other. Like,
what is that? 7-0 now? 7-0, I think. that Shanahan, the last 7 games, I think he's 7-0 against McVay now. Something like that.
Well, I mean, until today.
Yeah.
Until whatever it is, right?
Right.
So
6-0, now 6-1, yeah.
Overcoming that, they had to beat Brady.
Yep.
They lost to Brady in the Super Bowl, and Brady didn't even score a touchdown in that Super Bowl, and they still lost. It's overcoming, and it was difficult for them to do that. It was difficult for them to win this football game today. Yeah. It was hard. Again, Sean McVay was making mistakes, in my opinion, getting emotional with some of these challenges. Being a little stubborn with the run game, I thought, really trying to force it, almost trying to prove, hey, I'm just as tough as this Niners front. But when they made their adjustments, and I commented with a touchdown drive where they had the second Cooper Kupp touchdown throw, they started spreading it out. They did a freaking what do you call it? They did a screen off of the pitch from the running back, right?
Flea flicker.
A flea flicker screen.
Yeah.
I really know that was super creative. I'm like, okay, you guys are now adjusting.
Everybody's going deep, and then you throw it down on a screen.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And so just seeing them overcome that, I think was really impactful to see as a football fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell of a game, though. Hell of a game at the end of the day. Goodness gracious. This 49ers team, that front is unbelievable. And especially late in the game, I mean, they had Jimmy G in hell. It was a tough scene out there. He looked like he was drowning. And like you said about, like, you knew the pick was coming. It just, you gave Jimmy G the ball back with 1:40, and you're just like, this is the time in the playoffs when you need an elite quarterback to get it done. And the rest of the times, it's been the 49ers defense getting it done for him. And it's been just ugly play from the other side. You know what I mean? And now it's like, nope, the Rams put you in a position where you got to go get it. You don't.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative is the same for the Niners, right? Shut down the run game, make Jimmy G beat you. And today they had 48 yards on the ground between Debo and Eli.
Crazy.
Which honestly, before the last 2 drives, when the game was still 17-7, even though they weren't running the ball with effectiveness, they were still moving the football because Jimmy was actually playing well. And he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't getting in his own way. He was hitting his checkdowns, allowing, okay, you guys are going to take away our run. But Eli Mitchell had a bunch of, yards kind of underneath after the catch. The screens to Debo were effective. And then every time he had to hit something intermediate, whether it was Juwan Jennings or George Kittle, he seemed to be able to make those throws and avoid sacks. He was like, I thought Jimmy was playing really, really well. And then those last 2 drives for the 49ers, you get the delay of game penalty. You have a situation where the ball is snapped on third and 13, and half the team doesn't know the ball is snapped. And now I'm running outside. Like, the last 2 drives for the 49ers were a complete disaster. And whereas Matthew Stafford, and this is the one thing I will say about Matthew Stafford, is when I get frustrated with some of the YOLO balls sometimes because he loves his arm and he knows it. But he's clutch. He's always been clutch. That's always been his thing, even in Detroit. If you get Matthew Stafford in a game-winning drive situation or 2-minute drill, I need to get a field goal, he's always done that. If anybody that, it's just that he's been on trash teams, and oftentimes he's not even in that position.
Yeah.
But at least under these circumstances, I thought, much better. K-Drag said, sounds like we got somebody that disagrees here. Championship Sunday was trash.
How was it trash?
Best teams didn't make it. I agree the Rams and 49ers are pretty close, but the Bengals are even the 3rd best team in the AFC. The Bills should have made it. Well, then the Bills should have won, brother. Or sister, I don't know if you're female or male.
The Cowboys should have won too.
This sounds like you lost some money on the Bills game. I'm not sure what. I wouldn't say the games today were trash. I thought there was some high level football.
The Bills had the best defense in the league. The Bills had the best defense in the league, and they couldn't stop in 13 seconds. So no excuses.
No.
That's it. You got the best defense in the league. Why can't you stop 13 seconds?
I completely understand that the Bengals might not be the most talented team, but at the end of the day, it's who executes when it matters most. And the Bengals have done that time and time and time again. It's not the Bengals' fault that the Chiefs completely shut down the entire second half. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Kieran, keep going. Let's go ahead. We haven't even touched on Chiefs.
Oh my goodness. So this game ruined a lot of things for me. I'm a big Joe Shiesty guy. Trust me, I'm very much.
I gotta
went out
put
and
the picture up.
I went out and
Yeah, I
publicly
got to throw that
claimed.
picture up.
Yeah,
Drip
I went out and publicly
season.
claimed today that Joe Burrow is a proud man crush of mine. And I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed to say it. This man is drippy as hell. Look at this. Look at this.
Drip
Who else
season.
is walking? Who else is walking to a conference championship game swagged out like this?
His hair is blow dried. It's blow dried.
The confidence is unbelievable. But
Kieran, real quick before you continue, Joe Burrow showed up like he was about to go fight for the WBC heavyweight title of the world. That's what he looks like, bro.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Joe Burrow came up swagged out. Yeah, that was a clean walk-in. That was the best of the NBA like walk-ins. You know what I mean?
That was the NBA walk-in. I agree.
Exactly.
That level of confidence. That's a good comp too. NBA level.
Not like the freaky ones, like the Russell Westbrook ones, and you know what I mean. But
I know
you know
what
I
you
mean. The drippy ones. But this game ruined the opportunity for me to see the two Texas high school football quarterbacks going at it in the Super Bowl, Mahomes and Stafford, which would have been amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. That's what I was looking forward to. But the Chiefs came out so strong in the first half, and I was sitting there and I was tweeting and I was saying, dude, nobody's beating this Chiefs team playing like this. When they're capable of balancing the run game, playing like this, the Bengals are showing too high safety, and they were just like, okay, cool. I'm going to run for 7 yards of pop up the middle, and then whenever you try to bite up, I'm going to hit you over the top. Or if you want to stay back in that too high shell, I'm going to RPO you to death. I'm going to run something over the middle. Travis Kelce's going to be wide open all the time. Yeah. That plan worked in the first half. And in the second half, and this is the biggest, I think, flaw with Andy Reid's coaching style, play calling, whatever. And I don't know if he was calling the plays, if Eric Bieniemy was calling the plays, but abandoning the run completely crushes you in the playoffs. It does. I'm so sorry. It does. Like, it's a terrible thing to do. And honestly, I think Patrick Mahomes is a lot at fault for his performance in that second half, of course, but he was hung out to dry, in my opinion. I could have sworn they ran the ball maybe 2 or 3 times the entire third quarter. It was embarrassing, honestly, how badly they managed that game offensively. And let's talk real quick about the ends of the halves. I want to know, honestly, if Eric Bieniemy was calling the plays, if that's what he was doing at the end of those halves, he's not ready for a head coaching job. I'll be honest with you. If that's how you manage the ends of halves and playoff games, that's not who I want calling my plays as my head coach on my football team. Now, do I think he is? Probably not. I'm sure Andy Reid has some veto power there, as every head coach should. You know what I mean? But the way they called plays at the end of the half, I understand you got 5 seconds. That needs to be a fade to the end zone, something extremely quick if you want to take a risk right there. You have 5 seconds. Not as ugly as that was. Patrick Mahomes has got to get that ball out quicker. Patrick Mahomes, you got to make something happen right there. Also, you don't even have a timeout. The fact that he was putting his hands up, calling for a timeout, tells me that he wasn't completely prepared and understanding in that situation. Now, let's talk about the end of the game. Brilliant idea to run down the clock, right? Let's talk about regulation, right? Brilliant idea to run down the clock. You drove down the field. You had a nice drive going, right? You reach a 2nd and goal. The Rams do not have any timeouts after you run this play, right?
You mean the Bengals?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Bengals don't have any timeouts after you run this play. You're at the 4-yard line. Why on earth are you calling a pass play at all? Run the ball up the middle. If they let you score, they let you score. Don't lose yardage right here and make it difficult for you, because you can win the game on this 3rd down. You can win the game. The fact that you threw a pass right there, first of all, Patrick Mahomes knows he can't let the ball go, because if it's not open, if it's not complete, the clock stops, and now you're giving them the ball back with an opportunity to win the game. So what did he have to do? Take a sack. He had to take a sack. First of all, that play call gets your quarterback in a position where he has to take an extra hit. Second of all, it loses you field position. And third of all, you're not running clock like you should be in that position. Like you clearly, all you had to do, hand the ball to Jerick McKinnon. I guarantee you he would have got you 2 yards. You have a 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. It's the dumbest play call I've seen all season. I'm sorry. It's up there. It's up there with Dak's QB sneak with 13 seconds left. I'm sorry. It's dumb. That was an idiotic play call. And for someone as smart as Andy Reid and someone as well versed in intricacies of football and everything, it was a horrible boneheaded mistake that they made. And then on that third down, Patrick Mahomes tries to make everything in the world happen, and he even loses more yards after that, making it a tough field goal. And yes, you have Harrison Butker, one of the best field goal kickers in the game.
Brother,
obviously, he was going to get out there.
And he fumbled.
And he fumbled. Exactly. That's another hit that you gave him.
He got cocky. He got cocky right there.
No, he was trying to make way too much happen. Once he made a couple of people miss and threw that first touchdown.
I think the entire Chiefs offensive staff was very arrogant. I mean, I think that's because look, it's what makes you great, but it's also the curse. Okay, because they're one of the few teams in the league that would have done the bullshit they did before in this. And you know what's interesting? I'm glad you brought up the Dak play, the 13 seconds, because if you remember on the broadcast when they came back, they highlighted there's 13 seconds left, and they were trying to almost troll a little bit because of what the Chiefs did with against the Bills. Even though they had 2 timeouts, and people seem to forget that they had 2 timeouts and just completed 2 passes with chunk yardage, whatever. But they were like, oh, look at these guys. They did it. Look what they did in 13 seconds and blah, blah, blah. And it's almost this level of arrogance that was so costly because I'm there. I'm big on I get analytics, okay? I'm not saying I'm not this old school that I'm not factoring in how aggressive you should be in certain scenarios, win probability, all of that data. I want the data. Let me be very, very clear to everybody listening here. If I'm coaching on the sideline, I want the data. But my job, and it's very much like baseball, I got to have a feel for things. And I just felt as though there was no reason to take the risk at that point. I'm going up 14 and I'm going into halftime. Because in my mind, if we screw up this play, anything can happen. A fumbled snap, anything can happen. I'm gonna get to a fumble snap later, but anything can happen. And if in the way, I'm a big body language guy. Trent and I text all the time about body language. The Bengals looked like they came alive, even though they didn't get points. It was wow. We held up at the goal line. Wow, Eli Apple made a tackle at the goal line. They were they felt like when they went into the locker room, they felt as though, wow, we did something.
Like they got a turnover.
They let us back in here. That's essentially what they did get. They essentially got a goal line stop, a goal line
stand. They got
a
goal line stand.
That's all they needed as far as momentum is concerned.
That stand then turns into they come out and they force you to punt. They force you to punt again. All of a sudden, you're scoreless in the third quarter. And now the Chiefs are out of rhythm. Arrogance. Patrick Mahomes, just because you're scrambling around all over the place, like Tarkenton or Vic or whoever, that's the exception. That's the exception, not the rule. I don't need you to get everything.
Carrying the ball like a loaf of bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's what because he got that touchdown to Kelsey playing backyard football. But this is the AFC Championship game. Trey Hendrickson and those guys on the defensive line, the Bengals, aren't scrubs. They will make adjustments. And Romo was even highlighting this in terms of saying the defensive ends, once they figure out how to start leveling off and not just flying upfield and making him kind of stay lateral, it became an issue. The way they started bracketing Tyreek Hill became an issue. So arrogance mattered in this situation. They didn't just go in terms of, let's keep momentum on our side. I completely agree. Kick the freaking field goal there. In my opinion, I know people disagree with me there. I know Tran was like, hey, it was a bad – they didn't execute the play, but I liked the decision. I personally didn't like the decision. And that, Kieran, to your point, to me, that's 100% on Andy Reid because that reminded me, and Jimmy's going to know what I'm talking about. That's the Andy Reid I saw lose playoff games in Philly. With how he managed things. That's the Andy Reid that ended up getting fired in Philadelphia despite winning, getting to the NFC Championship game so many times and all these things. Because those critical moments, you just take it for granted. You're like, oh, the data says be aggressive. No.
Field goals aren't fun. Yeah.
They're not. It's just I like his coaching style. I like the aggressiveness, but to me more than anything, I was okay with the halftime thing. I thought it was dumb. I thought you could have this is my thing. I don't have a problem with the decision. I have a problem with the play call. I do. If you are going to pass the ball, so help me God, on a 2nd and goal when you're trying to run out clock before possibly getting an opportunity to score a touchdown. They didn't prioritize scoring a touchdown as much as they should have in that situation. Like, I'm like, dude, that has to be open there. You have to, like, otherwise you're taking a sack. You're putting someone who is the least protective with the football in his hands in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, dude, imagine if he loses that football on 3rd and goal because he's sitting back scrambling 20, 30 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Like, just, it's a terrible situation. Dude, run the ball, call your best short yardage play. You have a whole bag of them. Andy Reid has a whole bag of them.
He does. He's probably the most short yardage, between him and Kyle Shanahan.
It's crazy. When he needs 2 yards, he can get it, man. You got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. They run that like triple, quadruple option play. Like, you have so much stuff in your bag. Run the ball. Jerick McKinnon was solid all damn day. And they went away from that man when it mattered most, when you needed to control clock and not let them back in the game. They let him score 21 unanswered.
Clyde was too.
Exact. Clyde and Jerick McKinnon were eating, and they completely abandoned that run game. And guess what?
6 a touch and 5.4 a touch. That's what they got.
And credit to the Bengals because they did everything right defensively. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. What the Chiefs were throwing out there was almost unguardable, almost indefensible. And the adjustments that they made, I don't know if they spooked Andy Reid into not wanting to run the ball anymore, but my goodness, it was mind-blowing to me.
Run with the lead. You got the lead. Run it.
Yeah, exactly. You have the lead. Run the ball. Run the ball. There's no reason why you should be sitting here having 3 straight downs with Patrick. The tough part was, too, they run the ball on 1st down, get 4 or 5, sometimes 6 yards, 2 incomplete passes, punt, or an incomplete pass and then a sack. It was like, man, it just oh my God, like it was tough.
Historic. What we watched today happen in that football game. I mean, when you're up 18 points, and the way, and here's the thing, you're up 18 points, and it's not like, I think it would be different I think we would have a different narrative on this if the Bengals were up 18 and the Chiefs came back. Because we saw this a couple years ago, I think during the Chiefs Super Bowl run when they won, when Deshaun Watson and Houston Texans got up, I think it was like 24-0. They got up really big, right? In the divisional game, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was the divisional game because I think that's after the Texans had beat the Bills in the wild card. And then they played each other, and the Texans came to Arrowhead, and they got up 24-0, and then the Chiefs just went and like exploded on them, right? And then they came back again, I think, against the Titans, same thing, right? I think the narrative will be different because you're like, all right, the Chiefs it just took them time to wake up. That's not how the game flow in this contest went because the Bengals have one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen of a team make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is so bad. I legit think there's an argument that if Joe Burrow wins this Super Bowl, this is the greatest quarterback performance I've ever seen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The fact that you were doing this, you got sacked 9 times in a game.
No touchdowns. No touchdowns in that game.
9 times.
Yeah,
and still pulled it out.
It's still
I understand, and he is willing this team. I mean, he's getting hit like crazy, and guess what? Picks up 3rd downs, drives the play. I mean, they got into 3rd and long how many times in that first half, and he just still willed them to get down the field. And if it wasn't for him picking up those 1st downs, the Chiefs would have got the ball back and scored again and again and again and again, and it could have got ugly. But they wasted time off the clock. That field position, they ended up making it more difficult for the Chiefs to drive an entire field, and their defense made them bend, not break. They didn't get hit with too many explosive plays, but that offensive line is so bad. It's so bad. I can't give the Chiefs a pass. I can't give Mahomes a pass. There's no reason why the Bengals should be in the position that they are in. Because when you have a team that is that bad on the interior on one side of the ball, that shouldn't be enough to make it all the way to a Super Bowl in the playoffs.
Especially when you watch Rams 49ers and how good those fronts are on both and how physical they are on those ends. And then how they also matched up. I mean, Rams Buccaneers, right? 49ers Packers. You know, they were They were great. I kind of agree with the Joe Burrow has played. I would say he's played good football.
Mm.
Joe Mixon had 21 carries for 88 yards today. That's not bad, right? Like that's actually pretty decent production from your run game.
Yep.
And this is the point I want to get to with the Bengals. Zach Taylor is another Shanahan / McVay disciple. He's running the same offense where they're motioning people all over the place. The same jet sweep motion you see with Jamar Chase. That's the same play that McVay loves to run with Cooper Kupp. Literally the same exact play out of the same formation. They time it up the same. They scheme it up the same. And one of the things that those coaches have figured out is when they have really bad weaknesses on their team, they at least know how to scheme their way out of those things. Okay. So Joe Burrow's first touchdown pass, and I'm not trying to reduce Joe Burrow and his performance. Anybody that can hold up behind that line under those circumstances, it's impressive to me. Yeah. But his first touchdown pass was the coaches. They dial up a screen to Samaje Perine, and because he's getting lit up, and they just dump it off. Very similar to some of the screens you saw Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay figure out later in the game. It's the same play they hit the Chiefs on to get a touchdown. It's just figuring out little things. Now, when they have to get in drop back pass and it's 3rd and 12, they're in trouble. And that's where Joe, I think where he's really impressed me is using his legs and either staying alive or running immediately and saying, screw the play. I don't have time to go through progressions and all of this type of stuff. And he's just darting up the middle and getting 10 yards. I think that's impressive. And Joe's poise, Joe's big game poise, like people were talking about being shook in Arrowhead. There is something to be said about, bro, I went into Bama, okay? And it's 120,000 people in there playing in the SEC every week. Like there is something to say to that. There is something to say to playing in the college football playoffs and all the immense pressure you face there. So Joe, Jamar Chase, those guys have great poise. But Joe also, had some throws that, could have gone the other way.
Joe is also used to having 5-star linemen in front of him too, though.
And he's adjusted. He's adjusted to playing. Yeah. He's proven that he can lead a team with a bad offensive line.
Imagine how good this team is going to be when they get pieces.
When they get pieces, they're going to be unreal.
Yeah. Well, Absolutely. Can we also talk about the fact that this man came off an ACL tear and
it's year 2.
I know he stole comeback player of the year from Dak. Let's get real, because like Dak had that sewn up. Like there was no way Dak was losing that award, and then Joe came in and stole it from him.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I agree.
Let me ask y'all a question to this point. But shout out to Cook and Co.'s brother Cook. If they pick Penei Sewell, because there were people, right? Like what would y'all say? Was it 50-50 on Sewell versus Chase during the draft this time of year? Because everybody knew it was going to come down to that. Because we kind of knew 49ers were going to go quarterback, 49ers, Jets, Jaguars were going to go quarterback, and we knew Atlanta was picking Kyle Pitts. So that 5th pick, are the Bengals here if they pick Penei Sewell?
No.
They have an automatic weapon on the outside. They have a legit top 5 wide receiver right now.
Game-changing weapon.
Yeah. There's God bless. How did we play a close game against LSU in 2019? They have 2 top 10 wide receivers in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
And probably one of the best young quarterbacks out there.
Yep.
They're not in this position. Jamar Chase was that much of a difference maker this year. Just a complete weapon on the outside, a complete mismatch, a problem.
He does have some good compadres with him though. T. Higgins went off today.
T. Higgins Tyler Boyd is a legit top 15, top 20 wide receiver as well.
And he's their third best. He's their third best.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's where I give Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, their staff credit as well. The Chiefs, because they were victimized so badly by Jamar Chase in Week 17, they realized, and it took the Bengals a little bit of time. They realized we need to work Higgins. We got to work it because you can't bracket 2 people, right? And so it's like, all right, 85 is going to have to be live today. I expected T. Higgins to have a big day. I actually bet him. Shout out to BUSR. I bet him to have a catch over 27 yards, and he gave me a 44-yarder. So shout out to T. Higgins.
I want to say something about this comment right here. Yes, he is the first pick in the draft, but by no means is he supposed to be doing this stuff this early. We're talking about a 2-win football team that he got drafted number 1 overall to. A team that won 4 games last year, and he blew his ACL out. They added no pieces on the offensive line in the draft. Or not, they might have added 1 or 2. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But they didn't add a high-ranked guy out of the draft. Not a high pick in the draft at a position of need. And in the very next year, he took that team to the Super Bowl. A team that hasn't won a damn playoff game, I think, since I've been alive. It's like he's done that in year 2. He's the first ever number 1 overall quarterback to go to the Super Bowl in his second season. That it's insane what he's doing. And I understand he's not the whole reason. The Bengals as a whole squad are an extremely well-coached team, least penalized team in football, amazing at running the ball, weapons all around him. But God bless America. He's a number 1 overall draft pick that just took this team from the dumpster of the AFC North to winning the division and now going to the Super Bowl. The Bengals are in the Super Bowl. That's an insane amount of success early on in their career.
Russell Wilson got there in year 2, but
he wasn't the number 1 overall pick.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, there's never been a number 1 overall pick in the NFL that's gone to the Super Bowl in year 2.
And that's the thing too. This is among most sports, right? Because if you think about it, when you get drafted number 1 overall, you're probably going to a horrible team, probably a horrible franchise.
Yeah.
That's why they get held up. I think if anybody, now if Joe Burrow, let's say Joe Burrow was in this year's draft and had gotten drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, who were only bad because everyone got injured during COVID, but they were the same group, the same core that were in the Super Bowl the year before, right? That's different. But the Bengals, right? The freaking Bengals, the 2-14 Bengals, y'all, come on now. I'm not going as far.
It's like taking the Jaguars to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. I don't care how fast it happens or the weapons that they have around them. I'm sorry. It's an insane thing to do.
And
look at Baker Mayfield as
supposed to be that dude. What happened?
Exactly. Yeah, he still has another year, and I don't think he has the weapons around him. But look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall draft pick. He's not doing the same things, and he has a more talented team around him than Joe Burrow does. He does. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Dez, I want to address Dez's comment here because I've been the person, and Landon. So Landon and I, we do a lot of stuff together, as everybody knows. And I said about a month ago, and Jimmy, you probably heard me echo this as well. When we were gassing up all the Cowboys receivers and everything, I was like, hey, as much as I love the Cowboys receivers, I feel like the Bengals have the best receiving core that I've seen this year in terms of talent, in terms of what they do after the catch, in terms of tracking footballs downfield, in terms of making contested catches. I would take the Bengals group over. And that's not to say that doesn't mean we don't have weapons, right? People always think it's because you take somebody else, that means you think our guys suck. No, I'm just saying that their group of weapons has been elite. I'm not here's the caveat to that though. This offensive line is that bad. I don't know the brothers right guard on the Bengals, but we need to pray for him when he goes against Aaron Donald in 2 weeks. Because I watched Chris Jones bench pressing this dude literally into the backfield as soon as the ball is snapped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, again, credit to their staff and all this type of stuff. They're scheming their way out of some of this stuff to where it's all right, we're not even going to deal with the offensive line here. And all we're saying is if the line was just serviceable, where Joe Burrow had the type of time that Patrick Mahomes had today, what does he look like? I think those are questions we got to ask ourselves if we're being objective.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with you about the talent that he's throwing to. He's throwing to very, very good talent. I don't think
shout out to the Bengals defense too. They don't get a lot of love. They really don't.
they deserve a game ball
Yeah.
for their performance in the second half. Shout out to Cheeto Uzie. He's going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Eli Apple, a lot of dudes that were cast-offs in that secondary on the Bengals, quite frankly. A lot of cast-offs over there. A lot of no-name guys. It's going to be really, really interesting. Adenji is his name? He didn't play very well today, brother. Trust me, I watched the game inside out. That's how I've always been taught to watch football. He was terrible. I need to go. If we go through all 22 and break it down, I'm curious to see. I know there's going to be hella breakdowns in the next 2 weeks for this game, since there's only one football game left to focus on. But they've got some issues because Von Miller. I watched Von Miller win a Super Bowl, just doing what he does. When Cam Newton and they had, what's the guy's name? I think he was the right tackle on the Chiefs now.
Yeah, he's the right tackle on the Chiefs last year.
It was Reimers. Yeah, I watched Von Miller destroy Reimers in the Super Bowl back in 2015, where Cam
watched Shaq Barrett do it again.
Walk right through him. That's going to be an issue.
Yeah. I also just looked at some stats for Kansas City. In the third quarter, they ran the ball 4 times, and they averaged 5.25 yards per carry.
Right.
They only ran the ball 4 times, and they never had a rush of less than 4 yards.
With the lead.
Double-digit lead.
They ran the ball 4 times in the third quarter.
Yeah.
They ran the ball 4 times in the third. Like, it's insane. And I think in the fourth quarter, they ran the ball. I'll find it in a second. But it's just I can't believe you had that sort of advantage and just completely threw it away.
Well, they only ran the ball 18 times the entire game. So if they ran it 5 in the third, then they probably ran it 5 in the fourth.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
They actually did run it less in the fourth. They ran it 3 times in the fourth. And the balance was what was throwing off the Bengals in the first. And I'm not trying to discredit the Bengals win at all. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like Kansas City really lost this game. And that also ties into my opinions on the Super Bowl. So if we want to get into like a quick early preview of that,
jump in.
This playoffs has been an insane playoff. I mean, we've had 6 straight games decided by 1 score. It's been absolutely incredible, exciting, left, right, and center. I feel like this Super Bowl, though, is going to be a repeat of what last year's was. You're going to have a player going to a new team, getting redemption, getting validation, having an all-time defensive line completely destroy a depleted and bad one, and a young quarterback getting just murked. I feel like it's the Rams' year of destiny. They're playing at home. Damn, there's so many similarities, man. Just like Tampa Bay was playing at home last year. It's like I honestly don't see it being too competitive of a game. If it is,
got Dre and Snoop at the halftime show with Kendrick.
It's gonna be crazy.
All that California energy in there.
It's gonna be crazy. It's perfectly set up for LA.
Which is why they may lose.
Yeah, that's true. If we know sports, then that might be why. But I can't. I think it's gonna be a repeat essentially of what last year's Super Bowl was. I think Joe Burrows had an amazing year. I think this team is young. They've overachieved to get to this point, just like the 49ers had. But coming into the Super Bowl, it's too much. I think it's going to be too much. That defensive line is going to be the best one that they faced in the playoffs so far. Sorry, the Titans and Raiders. And the Titans gave them hell. I can't imagine what Aaron Donald was going to look like.
It's arguably the best defensive line. I mean, it's them and the 49ers.
Yeah.
There's levels to this.
Yeah.
And here the other thing is they got pieces on the back end too. It's not just the Rams defensive line. I know I was getting on Jaylen Ramsey today, and I don't like the way Jaylen's been acting recently and jumping. But Jaylen Ramsey's still a better DB in corner to where they can at least they don't have to overcompensate for resources on Jamar Chase. Yeah. So those are things that they'll have in their advantage, so to speak. But I agree. I think there's a difference in level. Aaron Donald they haven't seen Aaron Donald before. As good as Chris Jones is, and Chris Jones got off today. Aaron Donald, that's a completely different animal. The play that Jimmy G, we talk about Jimmy G throwing the pick where he's flushed out the pocket, it's because the 49ers right guard got bench pressed by Aaron Donald to flush him, like right when Jimmy G's hitting his fourth or fifth step, right? So I'm
going to stir the pot a little bit too.
Start.
You know who makes that pick later on that game for the Rams? Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs makes that. That's why that's important. That's why that's important.
I feel like he wants to be Deion so bad, but he ain't Deion.
Who, Jaylen Ramsey?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
think he is an elite athlete at that position. He's very, very smart, very, very technical. I think
very technical.
I think he oversteps. He oversteps some things, and I think he even had a problem with dropping picks in college too. Like if you watch the game against Oregon, he could have had a completely momentum changing pick in that game when they got blown out. But
yeah,
I think he gets in his head so much, and he tries to be that dog on the field that it sometimes holds him back a little bit.
So you think the Rams are going to blow out the Bengals?
I think the Rams will handle the Bengals. I think it's going to be.
So the line is already out. It's Rams -4.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of respect. A lot more respect, not a lot of respect, but a lot more respect because the line on the Chiefs, it was Chiefs -7 versus the Bengals, which is disrespectful for an AFC playoff game or a championship game, right? Because 49ers Rams was 3.5, which is what we're kind of used to in these circumstances. So they've moved it. It's -4 now. Over under is 50 points or 49.5, depending on where you're looking. On BSR, it's 50 points. So just food for thought, something to be interested in as well.
I've seen the Rams get carved up on receivers, right? So the O-line troubles me, right, for the Bengals. But if he can get the ball out to these receivers, man, I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball, right? But they might get another 60, 80 yards like they did today. But I don't think as long as they're committed to the run, I think that the Bengals can do exactly what they did today. I've seen the Rams lose games they shouldn't lose, and for all the reasons that you guys said that this is a layup win for them, this is the reasons why they lose.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a layup win.
Well, you haven't been on record yet, but McVay, McVay is known for this. McVay chokes, man. So we'll see.
Tried to choke today.
Okay, but where I think where I think McVay was stubborn today. Yeah, where I think McVay was stubborn with the running the ball this past week. I think going up against a team like the Bengals, when his run game is going to be cooking, it's going to come down to can Cam Akers hold on to the football? Yeah. Because the running lanes are going to be there. Matt Stafford is going to make plays. Matt Stafford is going to make some stuff happen. And my thing is, I just think it's too much too soon for the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a great team. I think they're capable of playing close with anybody. And it's going to take just Herculean performance from Joe Burrow to get it done, in my opinion. Just because the Rams have not had any issue picking up explosive play after explosive play against any team on this run through the playoffs. And I get it. The Bucs secondary is complete garbage, but doing what they did to the Cardinals, doing what they did today in the fourth quarter to the 49ers, who are a very stout defensive unit, the opportunities are going to be there, and this team is going to be able to hit some shots downfield. I just think it's too much too soon. I believe in Joe Burrow, but he's going to have to do something just out of this world, in my opinion, to beat that team with Von Miller and Aaron Donald and Jaylen Ramsey and veterans in the linebacker room. And you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a lot.
And if the Chiefs was that team, would you think that Rams would beat the Chiefs?
You said what again?
If the Chiefs had won today, do you think the Rams would have beat the Chiefs?
I think that's a completely different game because the Chiefs are way more offensively consistent, which is ironic because they weren't today. But their ability and playmakers in space, it's a nightmare matchup for a team like the Rams, where I feel like the pressure's not going to hit home as easily. You know what I mean? It's really the offensive line. When when you're looking at both of these teams, do the Rams have a deficiency that is as big as the Bengals offensive line?
No.
They do not. They don't. They're the most complete team in football. They're the most talented team in football. And they're actually a very well-coached team. I know McVay has had its struggles, but it's
I the thing I've seen from the Rams this year is chunk plays. And if anybody can get a chunk play on you, it's Jamar Chase. So that's what I'm looking at in this matchup. I'm looking at, can you limit that big chunk play? And, can you stop these other two receivers that are just amazing, in my opinion? I think they're capable of doing it. I mean, if they can win a game with 9 sacks, it's just a matter of keeping him healthy, and he can't, Burrow can't come out of the game. But if they let Jamar Chase get behind them, I mean,
the problem is I don't think he's going to have time to be able to hit somebody that like on a route concept that goes that deep. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're playing off, you're like, it's tough for me to think that these guys coming off the edge are not going to hit home.
That's actually kind of what, though, Kieran, impressed me with the Bengals is they actually adjusted to, because earlier in the game, I thought they were trying to take their shots. Like they're used to throwing the ball down the field, long developing plays. That's how you get all those big chunk plays to Higgins and Chase. I agree. I do think, though, when they started countering and saying, all right, we got to get to screens, we got to run jet sweep, we got to, kind of move laterally a little bit to slow things down, and then we'll work our shots in. That showed me, that was good stuff by Zach Taylor and them. Again, the familiarity between Zach Taylor and Sean McVay.
Also, Steven, let's not forget, even though the Bengals won today, their only second half touchdown was off of the interception in their own area that Patrick Mahomes threw.
Correct. That is correct.
Like even though they beat the Titans, they didn't score a touchdown in that game. You know what I mean? I think they did. They did score a touchdown.
They did. But
Joe Burrow didn't throw. Yeah,
Joe Burrow didn't.
Yeah, like it was a 16-point game. I understand the Bengals defense is very solid. It's a very solid, well-coached unit. I think it's coming around. Against the Raiders, I think you have even matchups, evenly matched up teams. Yes, the Bengals offensive line was bad, but they were capable of getting past, right? The Titans, offensively, Ryan Tannehill is a scrub. I'm sorry. I'm saying that. It's slander OU and A&M quarterbacks day, apparently, because Baker Mayfield and Ryan Tannehill are bums to me. But they had the Bengals at the end of the day had 2 drives that went long, and they were 11-play drives that resulted in field goals because they couldn't punch it in the end zone. They were still not the best offensively today. And when you're going up against a team like the Rams, who I think are a better defensive unit than the Chiefs are,
they are
it's a tough sell. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a tough sell for me, and especially.
But a bad day is a bad day, right? Every team has a bad day. So if you had your bad day in the AFC title game and you still won the game, I mean,
except I don't think it's their bad day because they played the same offensively against the Titans last week. You know what I mean? Like it's just. They're playing extremely good complementary football. That's what they're doing. They're playing amazing. But at the same time, they're not doing anything that's out of this world. The Chiefs lost this game today. They did. The Chiefs lost this game today. When you're up 21-3 in the first half of
they should have won. They should have
rolled them. They should have rolled them.
But
they didn't.
They didn't. Mm-hmm. and the Bengals, but here's the thing. Look,
it's going to take the Rams to lose again.
Well, that could happen.
Yeah, it can. I'm just not going to bet on a team completely.
I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you. That's why I think. But here's the thing: emotion, again, body language, emotions, all the intangible stuff. I know you guys probably get annoyed by hearing me say this, but I'm sorry. Matthew Stafford will give you some YOLO balls. That's just facts. Okay. And he still has that in his system at times. Sean McVay can get emotional and get carried away. We saw him run into the end zone in Week 18 celebrating. We saw him blowing challenges today. He ends up with no timeouts today. That could have been extremely costly for his football team. And they were down 10 points in the third quarter with 7 their own selves, as talented as the Rams are. So, I mean, I've watched Sean McVay go into a Super Bowl and not score a touchdown too.
Yeah.
I saw that.
With Jared Goff as his quarterback, though. Let's be honest.
Sure. And
also,
that matters.
Also against a Patriots unit with the greatest defensive
great
coach of all
defense.
time. And they completely took away Sean McVay's run attack.
But
I don't see the
Bengals had no counter to what the Patriots did when they played that zone on Jared Goff. He didn't help. They couldn't counter it. So all I'm saying is I gotta, until I see McVay completely close it and not stumble over himself too, the Bengals have a chance in that regard, because I trust Joe Burrow as much as I trust Matthew Stafford. Yeah. I don't think I'm veering either way. Joe Burrow's been fantastic in every big moment stage we've seen since he's been playing college football. And I do think there is something to be said for just playing with house money. Playing with house money. Like Matthew Stafford, I do think he feels a little pressure and he's responding to it in a positive way. But I do think he knows, like, these people traded the moon to get me.
Yeah.
I've always been on a bad team, but everybody, I've always kind of got the benefit of the doubt. I'm also a number 1 overall pick. I'm also a guy that can throw the ball wherever I please. I'm in a perfect
showing he's
scheme.
that dude, man. He's
showing
he is. When he's doing it in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
If Tart picks that ball off today, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams are talented on paper. Don't get me wrong. They're very talented on paper.
I still think the Rams could have got the ball back and won that game, though. Given the way that Jimmy G was getting pressured at the end.
No, I agree.
It's the year of the underdog. That's all I'm saying.
It has been.
Until it's not, though. The NFL is funny in a way. I remember years where we've had amazing playoffs, and then the Super Bowl happens, and because we got to factor this in too. You get 2 weeks. It's not the normal 1 week, right? You get 2 weeks. It's a completely different game. Navigating media, all the things you guys have to do. The halftime is going to be different. Every aspect of the Super Bowl is totally different. Now, Zach Taylor was there when Sean McVay went through it. So it's not like, they both went through it for their first time. Sean McVay was just the head coach. So it's not like they're both inexperienced in that regard. But I do think the players, some of these older guys, like Eric Weddle doesn't come out of retirement if he doesn't think he can win a Super Bowl with LA, right? Like some of these guys who, this is their chance to almost kind of like NBA or ring chase a little bit. I think you're seeing that with this LA team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cook said Matthew's been throwing some gimmies since high school. Did you play against him? I know you played ball. I remember you told me that.
Yeah, that arm is ridiculous, though.
No, his arm is ridiculous. But the thing is, it's like Patrick Mahomes, the blessing and the curse. When you can put the football anywhere with your arm, you almost trust it too much sometimes. And I think Mahomes gets into that still. Like they've done such a great job with him, because anybody that saw him play at Texas Tech, he was wild. And part of it is because he had to be, because Tech was trash. But I do think every now and again, it's still, as much as they've coached him and as much as they've taught him checking the ball down, being patient, wait for your shots, run the offense. There's a reason why we're doing this. There's a time for you to make plays. There's times where he can't contain himself, and he's like, nah, I'm going to make a play. And sometimes it works out, like you saw the Travis Kelce touchdown. And other times he holds the ball and you have what you had in the second half.
It's, man, this is a tough one. I'm not going to lie. This is a really tough one for Patrick Mahomes' legacy. Not going to lie to you.
It took a hit.
It definitely did.
It took a hit.
I mean, but it's one season. You can overcome it. It's better to do this in this sort of situation than in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Because people aren't going to remember this. You know what I mean? Like, people don't remember when Jordan lost in the conference championship to the Magic, but they do remember when he won in the finals,
Bro,
people don't remember that like they do.
You brought up the wrong reference.
I'm just saying.
Time out. I know. Look. The LeBron. Look. I know you're down there in LA drinking LeBron's Kool-Aid.
37 years old doing everything so well.
Doing what? Stat padding.
You think LeBron James is stat padding?
We're about to get derailed.
Absolutely. 1,000%. I've seen it with my own eyes at this point.
Okay. No, the only stat patter on the team is Russell Westbrook. And you know that good and damn well, Steven. We ain't got to get into an NBA discussion. We can do this later. Shout out to Texas basketball team, though. Finally getting a ranked win. It was a good time.
We got a big game on Tuesday.
Oh my
big game on Tuesday. Anything else we need to address? Because I feel like there was some other, like, for example, during the Chiefs game at the end, Tony Romo, do you guys think it was self-awareness for him to say what he said about, hey, he goes, hey, Jim, they might want to consider kicking the field goal on third down because I've seen guys fumble the ball before and it'd be cost.
Yeah.
Dude, he is commentator's curse waiting to happen.
Yeah.
He literally said, I bet Bengals fans had to mute the damn TV because he was like, the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl, Jim. I'm like, dude, shut up,
right,
bro.
And then he said the fumble. Then he went right into they could fumble the snap.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I love me some Tony Romo on
What an act
I
of
think Jim Nance is
self-awareness.
the best. I think he's the best play-by-play guy out there. But God, Tony Romo was abysmal today. I'm not gonna lie to you, fellas. That was he was enjoying the last call of the season for him. He's ready. He's ready for them Coronas on the beach or whatever beer he's sponsored by.
He was ready.
Good God, that was bad, man. I'm talking about he was trying to curse everything, and they did it last week too. They were talking about Harrison Butker not missing field goals in the playoffs and all sorts of stuff, and then he missed the one.
You're right.
I was like, man, what are you doing, bro? Like, I don't know.
So, Tony Steve, who did you say was going to win the Super Bowl
before the season?
No, right now.
Oh, picking the game. I think the Rams are going to win, but I do think it's going to be
crap for that.
What? No. No, I think the Rams are going to win the game. No, I'm just. You made it sound like it's like with the way you were talking, you make it sound like they about to win. They about to roll by like 17, dog. Like I'm just saying. I think there's a conversation to be.
Stop.
Yeah, I know where he was coming from. We're picking the same team. I think we're seeing.
They can't even get fans in the stands, man.
It's the Super Bowl.
Doesn't matter,
man.
I don't know. We'll see.
At least he'll have Dr. Dre in the building this time.
I think I got a hot take on the halftime show. I don't think it's gonna be as good as people think. I'm not gonna lie. No, actually, the fact that Mary J. Blige is in there makes me feel better. Mary J. Blige and Kendrick make me feel a whole lot better.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kendrick will jump it up a little bit.
Yeah, old Snoop, old Dr. Dre, Eminem. I'm not really like I'm vibing with it. I'm vibing with their music, but I don't know what they're about to pull out. You know what I mean? Pull out some new album stuff, and nobody's trying to hear it.
No, they're not going to do that. They're going to play the Super Bowl. They play the hits. I think even M, he'll because especially the early stuff with Dre from like Marshall Mathers LP, all that type of stuff. Like they'll play the hits. I'm not concerned about that. I think my concern is I love incorporating hip hop and whatnot. Like obviously I think all three of us are hip hop heads, but it's hard when you're talking about a performance and a show, right? Like it's a little, so you're going to have like the way it's produced because last year, like I'm a Weeknd fan. I've always liked the Weeknd, but it was so like, that's something that should have been more so for like a concert, not necessarily for a Super Bowl halftime performance. It's different, right? In terms of, you have to also understand cameras and production as much as it is you're just standing there, you're watching somebody on stage perform. It's very, very different. So I am
the stage manager how they move over here.
Everybody around though.
What'd you say? I said Steven, the stage manager over here. It's like I've seen. I've got to get back into the cameras. They have to meet, and then sometimes we had to get their angles. And
so I've seen most of these dudes live personally. I haven't seen Dre live, but I've seen Kendrick, I've seen Eminem, and I've seen Snoop multiple times live, and they all put on ridiculous stage. Like I don't even know how you say it. Productions is probably the word.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think if anybody's capable of doing something crazy, exciting, different, blah, 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 I think these dudes can do it. So, and I do like the fact that they incorporated Kendrick because it's like for the young bucks, right? Like, they don't care about Eminem, they don't care about Dr. Dre, all these things, right? But like for the old people like us, we do. So you
Kendrick
bring Kendrick in there.
Generation.
Yeah, you got that new blood in there. Yeah. So
and people love Snoop.
No, definitely.
People love Snoop. People are going to be so excited just to anything Snoop does.
Yeah.
People just
but it ain't because of his music. It's because of Snoop.
I want to talk about this comment here. Do not even care about the Super Bowl for a while. Not after all the emotions of this. No Brady, no Mahomes in Super Bowl, but Bengals are wow. This year and Brady retiring is officially like
I'm getting an echo.
Oh, sorry. I think it's it might be. It's not.
I didn't hear anything, but
oh no. Okay. But this year with Brady, with Big Ben retiring. It's the first year that we have
new blood.
It's all new. Everything is going to be different. We have new quarterbacks that are coming in here. I mean, for what was it, 13 years, 14 years? Every single year, the person representing the AFC side was either Peyton Manning, Big Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco that one year, or Tom Brady.
Yep.
And now there's no Brady, there's no Big Ben. We get all of these young, talented quarterbacks and these young, talented head coaches to go at it and fight for supremacy. And I'm so excited because as a kid that was born in 1998, I didn't get to see all of these teams rise to supremacy. I just was born into it. Now I get to see which one of these quarterbacks and which one of these teams and head coaches build something that's going to last for years and years and years to come. And I thought the Chiefs were going to be that organization, but now you're seeing the Bengals are building something special. The Chargers are building something special. The Bills are building something special. Like, it's going to be a great, great, great time of NFL football, and I'm so excited to see all of that.
I'm okay with NFL parity. Okay, like I'm okay with not seeing the same quarterback in the Super Bowl every freaking year, right? Like
100%.
I loved this year just for the simple fact of like, man, something new. Like, I mean, the Rams aren't that new. They were in the Super Bowl a few years back. But that being said, like
Matt Stafford being there is crazy.
Just give me something fresh. I love it. So like, I'm okay with like, Josh wants to go next year. And then the year after that, Pat wants to go back and then, come back in and Bengals are back. I'm cool with that,
Yep. No, definitely. But I'm excited for this opportunity though, too. Players like Jaylen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Odell Beckham Jr. I think generational talents. Yeah, generational talents. Also, if they win a Super Bowl, I think that's phenomenal. And also, good God, if Joe Burrow pulls this off, what an introduction. Your first full season as a starting quarterback in the NFL. You
off an ACL tear.
Off a brutal ACL tear. Coming to the 2-14 Bengals.
With a terrible O-line.
With a terrible offensive line. Getting sacked 9 times in a playoff game and still winning a Super Bowl. Regardless of what he does the rest of his career, that is a legendary start.
Like, and don't forget about who he would have went through to get there too. To be
exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
because
the Titans were no pushover either. I mean, they were not a cakewalk.
No.
So
I think the Raiders might have been, but then again, I saw what they did to us on Thanksgiving Day. So
yeah. No, I want to make this point too about Mahomes and the Chiefs in particular, because Mahomes today, I believe it was his 4th AFC Championship game start at this point in his career, right? And so he's been to 2 Super Bowls, he's won 1. I think this could potentially be similar to a Packers and Aaron Rodgers situation, because Aaron Rodgers won pretty early too, in conjunction of him taking over as the Packers quarterback for Brett Favre. And I remember the conversations after the Packers won that first Super Bowl against the Steelers, and that was the one that was in Arlington, actually. There was a conversation about them being a dynasty. There was a conversation about with the amount of guys they had coming back, everything in the mix. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't been back since. Now, Mahomes has had more success even getting to the Super Bowl now than Aaron Rodgers. But my point is, be careful, starting to count rings prematurely. People look at Mahomes, you're like, man, we got, that might be 3-4 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Be thankful for every single one. This is the hardest, level to play at, the hardest level to win. And within the salary cap era, things can blow up very, very quickly, as well as injuries. right? We didn't know that Packers group, they went 15-1 the next year. They got upset, and then the roster flipped. So we got to be careful with the Chiefs stuff, right?
We grew up with legendary quarterbacks that never won a title,
Mm-hmm.
And even John Elway, it took the very end for him to get his,
Yeah.
Peyton,
also gives
Peyton could never get through Tom. I think Tom kind of ruined us because it's like what Tom has done is that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's
one of the hard truths I have to come to and realize. It's just like, damn, although he did have a damn free pass to the playoffs almost every single year, he still got it done whenever he made. Like, he got more opportunities to get it done, but he got it done when it mattered most. Like, he wasn't Jimmy G. You know what I mean?
Well, he got there a lot, but he didn't take a bunch of L's either, He was still winning, so.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, at-bats matter.
Yeah, they do.
The more times you go, I'm going to make a whole video about this in regards to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The problem the Cowboys have is they go to the playoffs every 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's not enough at bat. So the playoff losses hurt more because we're like, damn, we're not going to make it for another. Like, that's been the reality with the Cowboys, even going back to the Tony Romo era. How many times did Tony Romo make the playoffs back-to-back years? After, I would say the last time he did that was when he first became the starter and we lost in 2006 to the Seahawks, and then we went and lost to the Giants. And then we had a gap of even making the playoffs. And then we got there, and then we beat the Lions. What was it? Who did we beat? We beat somebody.
Beat the Lions, or we beat the Eagles? Eagles was
we beat
first.
The Eagles. We beat the Eagles, and then we lost to the Vikings when Gerald Sensabaugh, had the whole thing. I don't know if everybody remembers that. Mm-hmm. And then there was another gap. All the 8-8s winning in, we lose. And then the next time we make the playoffs was 2014, right? So that's the difference. You gotta try to string together some consistency in terms of getting the at bats. Tom Brady wasn't missing the playoffs, and I know the division was trash. And yes, you get a free pass in the AFC East, but everybody talks about the NFC East. And look, newsflash: the Eagles have a bunch of first-round picks. They're gonna figure it out. I trust that organization. As much as I hate them, they're not gonna be down forever.
Yeah.
But while the Cowboys
NFC East has 3 rings in the last 20 years too.
Yeah, when's the last time somebody won back-to-back? It was like the McNabb Eagles.
Yeah. So there's a lot of parity in our division. They talk a lot of trash about it, but there's 3 Super Bowls in the last 15, 20 years with our division. So
yeah. Well, the thing is, all of those teams operate the same way in which Steven is talking about, though. They don't make the playoffs for 3-4 years, and they make it one time. Except we get eliminated in the first round. Those motherfuckers go on the way to the Super Bowl and beat the undefeated Patriots.
That's Jerry's fault.
Yeah, no.
Because Jerry comes out of the gate and says Super Bowl or bust, and that's what gets us every time.
Y'all know Jerry's not even 80 years old yet?
Yeah. I was hoping he was like 89.
When I say that, bro, you know what I mean? Why is the reaction always, fuck? Like, you know
you don't want nobody to die, but man.
I just love telling that to people because that's always the first reaction. It's literally just like, Jerry Jones isn't even 80, and they're like, it's not that we want that old man to not live a long, prosperous life, but we definitely want him to relinquish his decision making.
Exactly. Just take a back seat for a minute. Just sit
please.
I'm gonna address this one time because this guy in the comments is going crazy or whatever. So I'll address it once. Take your tinfoil hat off, all right? Take your tinfoil hat off. I don't want to hear it. Our sponsors, we're in the sports betting industry as it is. You're upset you lost your bet. That's what this sounds like to me. And take your tinfoil hat off. If you don't, it sounds like if you're this upset, then you don't enjoy the game, and then just bounce. You don't got to be here. You want to say we're clueless and all this type of stuff. You want to blame, whoever you want to blame. I'm sorry you're hurting. But now you sound like the conspiracy theorist, and all this type of stuff, and the whole league's rigged. If you believe the league's rigged, then why are you tuning in? Go sit out. If you believe it's rigged, that's like me yelling at the WWE fans that show up every week, the billions of them that they produce dollars-wise, and saying, oh, it's fake, right? What does that have to do with me? I don't care. I'm enjoying the content.
Goodness
so
gracious.
if it's bothering you that much,
and what does the league benefit by throwing the game for the Bengals?
Nothing.
I would love for him to answer
Is Cincinnati some mecca city that I'm not aware of that like is going to bring tons of revenue to the NFL if they lose or win?
Are we forgetting the Chiefs were up 21-3 and they were playing State Farm commercials while he was simultaneously waxing that Bengal ass on the other side?
Trust me, the NFL wanted Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. They wanted him there. I promise you that.
Dude, did you guys see how many Mahomes commercials were running during the 49ers Rams game?
I wanted to tweet that so bad. I was gonna be sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I had to get my ass whooped by an opposing quarterback and then also see their cringe commercials while it was happening, like I'm sorry. Like if I was a Bengals fan in the second quarter, I'd probably turn my TV off right there. Being down 21-3 and then having to see this dude in some hipster glasses at a shoe store talking about the Patrick Price, I'm jumping out of my window. I'm sorry. That's absolutely not. Could not do it. That'd have had me sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Talking about some damn Patrick Price.
They keep talking about Cincy not having an indoor practice field. That is true.
Wow.
like college football teams pretty much all have indoor fields.
That's wild.
It's pretty embarrassing.
Man, no, this was like I said, I mean, what better playoffs can you ask for? And this is you're watching the best athletes, the best players in the world. Because I wanted to get to this is the other point I wanted to make before I got sidetracked with the other guy. With tinfoil hat guy in here. But Joe Burrow is I saw more college football fans engaged with because it's good football, right? Like this football, and I tweeted this a while ago. I'm like, that's where college football really needs to figure out their postseason way better, because this is the type of drama you could potentially have, and we just don't have it in that sport. But from a standpoint of, you have Joe Burrow, who at the point he was at LSU and the run they had 2019, 2020, when they win the national championship, he's the biggest star. He's the Heisman. He became the face of college football. And for him to quickly transition, this is what this is where, I mean, God forbid if they had NIL at LSU then. Now, I'm sure Joe Burrow used the side money he did make at LSU under the table to get the ice ass chain. I get it. But you have a bona fide superstar that has crossed over. Jamar Chase, who was a star, has crossed over. Look at everybody doing the dance and everything out there on social media, and how popular this brother is on TikTok and all these things. These are real things in terms of building up fan bases and interaction with the league. I think you guys are spot on in terms of just the youth and the movement that's happened, because I wasn't trying. That's why I was like, yo, no disrespect to Big Ben, but I wanted that last game against the Ravens, that to be his last football game. Put Justin Herbert in this playoffs. That was my energy. It's time to move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Game.
And to your point earlier, the young kids, man, they don't want to see more of these old dudes keep winning. Let's bring out some fresh talent.
We're over it. I'm not gonna lie to you. And also, I still hold serious resentment in my heart for the Raiders organization for not tying that football game. That'd have been just a really cool move. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, screw it. I'm very anti, I touched the ball, coach, sportsmanship commercial types. You know what I mean? Like, have y'all seen that? Where he's just like, I know I touched it. You know, I'm very anti like that. I want a fair competition. But in that case, I'm just like, man, get Big Ben's get his old ass up out of here, bro. He's not gonna win a game. This is a complete waste of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And although I'm like, okay, I get it. Those Steelers players want to make their money, their playoff incentives. Like, I get it. You know, still, bro. Like, it for what? Get up out of here, bro. Get up.
Hey, you know what's funny about Big Ben retiring too? I was talking about this earlier. I was like, I don't like the Steelers. It's probably my least favorite team in the league. But I kind of felt bad for Ben, because he was like, let me retire. And then Tom Brady was like, let me retire too. And he was just like, nobody remembers Big Ben retired now.
He deserves it.
Tom just stole all his thunder.
Get Ben up out of here.
Yeah. They were like, bye, Ben. We don't care.
Yeah, I mean this is I mean the generation of quarterbacks. I mean those classes, that '04 class with Eli, Ben, Phillip Rivers, those guys are out of the game now.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees, who was a few years before them, he's leaving. Remember Drew Brees was in that '01 draft with Michael Vick and LaDainian Tomlinson and all those guys, right? And so
it's really wild, like in end of an era, like the first era of sports that I know you guys are like old enough to see another one, but like for me, it's all the guys that I grew up watching are like gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whether it's like it's baseball, basketball, football, whatever. I mean, Kobe done playing. Like I grew up watching him. Like Carmelo, LeBron's in the twilight of his career. It's crazy. Derek Jeter, A-Rod, like all the players that I grew up watching and respecting and loving, like they're all gone. And now it's happening in football, and it's really tough. Loki, like having no Manning, no Breeze, no Roethlisberger, no Brady now. Those were the quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Like those were the guys when I was growing up, and now they're all gone. Essentially, like all of them are gone. It's now a new league with new young guys that are super duper hungry, and I just got to say I'm excited for it. And good God, these kids are so good too. Like football's improved so much because these guys are doing stuff at the eight. Like the fact that just on the AFC side, Herbert, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, all under 26 years old. All 26 are under. Yeah. We're going to see these dudes for another decade. And guess what? There's going to be more talented guys that come in and produce at a very high clip. Like I really think, especially now with the modern day offenses and everything, you're going to have a league full of, if not the whole league, at least a good 20 guys that are really solid quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting time, but it's also kind of bittersweet because the guys that I grew up with are all gone now.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm also tired of seeing them. Get Tom Brady's old ass up out of here. Get Ben Roethlisberger's old ass up out of here. Drew Brees needed to bounce a long time ago. Saints fans hate on Cowboys fans for no reason.
I'm still waiting on Tom Brady to actually send the tweet from his account that says I'm
okay.
I still haven't seen that yet.
Okay.
And he's the type of dude that's so vindictive that he'll come back just to spite people.
Ooh. I'll share with you my opinion as a proud Tom Brady hater. Literally in my bio, I say I hate on Tom Brady for a living.
Nobody hates Tom Brady more than Kieran does.
It's almost a personality trait. Honestly, I've grown as a man because I am willing to accept that man is the GOAT. 100%. I completely understand it.
We got that on tape.
Oh, I know. It's got it on tape. But I will say
I'm gonna cut this part out and just blast out on
Twitter. It as a GIF.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I understand you want to leave at the top of your game. I get it. But also, he's breaking boundaries right now, and I want to see how far that can go.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? I understand you want to leave at the top of your game, and you're 44, 45 years old. But I'm also like, dude, if you're the guy, if you're the special one capable of playing until you're 50 years old at a high level, he just threw 43 touchdown passes this year.
Mm-hmm.
At 44 years old. That's what I'm saying. Like that's insanity. Right. If you are the guy that is capable of pushing that boundary, I want to see how long you can go.
Yeah.
That's just me as a sports fan that wants to see people push themselves to great limits. And I understand, like, you got your family, you got everything else. He's committed 40 plus years to football at this point, essentially. Like, that's a long time. But at 44, when you're this high level and you haven't taken a back step and you're still getting the ball out quickly and your arm strength is crazy and you're still delivering accurate. That's what I'm saying. I want to see how far you can go with that. I do. But also I'm like, I understand you probably miss eating pasta. You know what I mean? Like you probably miss like a normal life. Like he probably wants to go home, chill out, kiss his kids on the mouth and, just have a good happy life.
Oh my God. Dude. Yes.
That's how Tom Brady wants to live, bro.
Man, I swore I was the only one that talks about the fact that he Frenches his kids. I thought I was the only one that knew about that.
No, come in, destroy
that's where nobody knows about that.
Marry a supermodel, go kiss your kids on the mouth, right off into the sunset.
Not just kisses them on the mouth. It's not just kissing them on the mouth. To be clear, it's more than that. But
no, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I love the point though about pushing the boundaries and where the body can go, because as much as this youth movement has grown, has shown and everything. We are seeing that in sports. I saw somebody's comment about Serena Williams and LeBron James and Nadal and all these people that are all competing longer in their respective sports. I think that is a very, very valid point, just the evolution of sports science and those who have chose to embrace it. Tom Brady obviously choosing to be on the forefront of that. I don't know if everybody remembers this, but Tom Brady's arm looked like it was dying off a few years ago. It really did. Like you could start to see a noticeable dip in terms of, some of the velocity. Like every now and again, he could still turn it loose, but and then the last couple of years, he
switched up his motion.
Yes.
He switched up his motion. It's a turn now instead of like an over the top type delivery. It's literally like a snap in the hip, like in the hips, and he delivers it beautiful. It's the same thing that Aaron Rodgers has been doing. That's why he has incredible zip, and it looks like
he's gotten his power back.
Exactly.
And even the throw he made, I know it was more of a 9 route, but the throw he made to beat Jaylen Ramsey to Mike Evans,
crazy,
right? Didn't the ball travel about 55 yards on a dime?
Yep.
Right. So he still got it. That's something I've seen him do consistently.
He has a stronger arm now than he did when he was 25 years old.
Yes, he does.
Then that's like a legit, like it's a legit thing. But
whereas Ben Roethlisberger looked like it hurt for him to throw a ball.
It looked like him hurt to walk around. He's just not.
Everything was painful. Like, even Eli, right? Like Eli was at a point where, he was immobile, couldn't move. Like at least Phillip Rivers never really got by on arm strength. It was more anticipation. And Uncle Phil was still actually balling when he left too.
You know who the worst was? Breeze. Breeze's arm that last season was completely
bad.
Breeze was bad.
His arm was bad.
That hurt to watch. I was like, man, this is not good at all. Like he was not capable of putting any sort of zip on the ball.
I thought
everything was floating
gave him
up.
a better chance to win.
They should have played Jameis Winston 100%.
Because
100%.
Drew Brees could not throw the ball past. Like it was ridiculous.
It was so sad. It was
that last year. I know. I agree, and he knew. That's why when they said they called Drew, and I believe Sean Payton did call Drew Brees this year when he completely ran out of quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew Brees, I think when your arm is shot, your arm is shot.
Exactly.
There's not much you can do about it.
It's done.
It's done.
And as a guy that's like a huge fan, and the only reason why I say this is I don't want to see, as much as I don't like Tom Brady, I don't want to see anybody go through that. I don't want to see anybody just be a complete shell of themselves for the whole world to see.
He learned from Peyton Manning.
Exactly. But my thing
Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, but I think Tom Brady looks at him because they've become friends, but they still, even at the Hall of Fame speech at Peyton's thing, you could still see that competitive juice between the two of them, which is what made both of them great. Because when Tom Brady left his game, he's checking the box scores because back in the day, they didn't have computers and phones. You had to actually go and get a sheet and be like, oh, what did Peyton do, right? And he's like, oh, man, he threw for 380 and 4 touchdowns. Like they were chasing each other. Peyton's winning all these MVPs. And I know it was pissing off Tom. And over time, that's why Tom always had a little extra juice whenever they played Peyton, in particular in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they've had this respective competitive thing going on to the point where Tom Brady knows Peyton so well, where he's like, I think he genuinely felt as though as a friend of this man, even though he won a Super Bowl, it's dope. He got his second one. I'm happy for him. Was it dignified? He got benched for Brock Osweiler during that run.
Yeah.
Right? He got benched. And then
what is Tom playing for at this point? You know what I mean? Like I understand.
Right. He doesn't need to. Yeah. He doesn't have
the longevity argument, but like
for the love of the game. Like, hey, I like going out here. I like being around the guys. I like the camaraderie. I'm still playing at an extremely high level. And is what like the point that I wanted to make though too is I honestly think one of my favorite sports is track and field. It's not the biggest sport, but it is human beings testing themselves, not just against each other, but testing the limits of what the human body is capable of. That to me is peak athleticism. Like peak athletics. I mean, that's what it's called. It's athletics, but it's peak sport. It's peak competition. When you are competing not only with other people, but with the literal human like boundaries that a body is supposed to be going up against, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the coolest thing out there. I honestly do. And when I see somebody like Tom Brady doing things like he's doing at the age of 44, it's insanity. Like, I'm just like, I gotta see, like, me personally, and I know it's like the most selfish thought out there, but I'm like, damn, I gotta see how long you can do this for.
Right.
Because I'm just like, dude, I don't think there's going to be another quarterback that's capable of doing this at 44 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so advanced mentally that he doesn't have to use his feet to scramble outside the pocket and risk injury or anything like that. He's staying in the pocket. He's diagnosing everything pre-snap. He's picking people apart with short passes, deep passes, whatever he needs to. He's so advanced, and he's the only person to reach this level, because the more and more time you have in football, the better you have an understanding, right? He's older than these damn head coaches. Yep. And he's probably more understanding situationally than these damn head coaches. And he's still capable of playing the position. It's insane. And I just want to see how long he can do it selfishly.
And elevates his teammates still.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to see how long he can do it selfishly. But also I know at the end of the day, it is a sport. It's not his whole life. You know what I mean? And he should do like what's best for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the nicest you're ever going to hear me talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah, this will be a whole video snippet.
I do think he's the most beneficial GOAT I've ever seen in my life, but we don't have to go down that rat hole.
No, he 100% is. But then again, in retrospect, you have to be very good to be that lucky.
Yeah, and you got to put yourself in those situations. Yeah.
Like, I mean, just look at Jimmy G. Like, you can be on an amazing team, but if you don't have it at the end of the day to get it done, you're not going to get it done.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the thing. He definitely, I mean, there's a lot of lucky moments. A lot of lucky moments. But at the same time,
he lost a couple on some unlucky moments too, though. So
yeah. No, definitely. But that's football. I think the only one that's like really unfortunate and unlucky.
Like, if I'm going to say who's the most
David
lucky
Tyree
quarterback of all, exactly. Who's the most lucky quarterback of all time is Eli Mitchell.
Well, okay, the David Tyree catch, I completely get your point.
Yeah.
The other Super Bowl, they straight up won.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like the Plexico Burress one, they straight up beat them.
Wasn't that the one where Wes Welker dropped the pass though? Like that would have.
I still think that was a poor throw than Wes Welker dropped the pass. But Wes Welker got the blame for that play.
There was.
Can I introduce something else here though? The Giants won that Super Bowl game against the Patriots outright. I agree. Mm-hmm. Eli played very, very well in that game. And Mario Manningham, the throw he made on the sideline, one of the all-time great precision throws. There was no room for error. Had to be perfect, and he threw a perfect ball. And he played great in that game. The Giants should have lost to the 49ers that year. Kyle Williams had 2 fumbles on punt returns. That cost the 49ers, or else Alex Smith, right? Not like so there's luck. There's luck involved.
So this is what I'm saying.
About the 49ers game.
That's neither here nor there though. I'm talking about the games that like obviously things happen crazy. I mean the Green Bay Packers, a freaking onside kick went off of a player's head when they were going against Seattle. You know what I mean? Like that's literally, you know, that still pisses me off to this day, because we could have got a prime Brady and Rodgers in the Super Bowl if that ball didn't bounce off of a Green Bay Packers player's head. You know? So I'm talking about the games in which they are competing against each other. At the end of the day, like, injuries are a part of the game. Fair. Injuries are a part of the game. I'm not gonna hold that against him for that 7th ring, because I mean, injuries are part of the game. Tough. I'm so sorry. It's unfortunate that Patrick Mahomes lost his entire offensive line. That made it not competitive, but I'm not gonna say that would have automatically changed the results of the game. But plays like the tuck rule, that's an extremely lucky situation.
Yeah.
Plays like, I mean, like
Seattle throwing it on the 1 yard line.
It on the 1 yard line. Extremely lucky situation. Julian Edelman getting a ball this close off of the ground. Also, after Kyle Shanahan decides not to run the ball when they're already in field goal range, all they needed to do was kick a field goal to seal the game, essentially, right there. That's a lucky situation to be in. But at the end of the day, he capitalized on those, so I can't hold them again. Like, I'm not going to hold those against him. Like, you have to capitalize on those things whenever they happen. It's just, though that amount of lucky things
to
does
one
not
person.
happen to anybody else. Like it doesn't. I'm sorry.
Like it
To
does
one
over
person.
and over and over and
the
over.
The fact that Rams game was even remotely close. It took a fumble on the goal line. It took a snap that went right over Matthew Stafford's head. It took another fumble. It took a Cooper Kupp fumble. Then it took another fumble in his own area. Also, It took an all-pro kicker shorting a 47-yard field goal.
Yeah. Like just
I'm sorry, dude. That does not happen with anybody else other than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. I'm sorry, it does not. And I'm not trying to sit. And granted, he still almost capitalized on it and made it happen. But that sort of stuff does not happen to any other quarterback. It does not. I'm sorry.
Don't forget the Atlanta Falcons.
No, that's what I'm saying. That was the Julian Edelman catch when it's that close off of the ground.
I know.
It's wild. I mean, he has multiple conference championship games where he threw more interceptions than touchdowns, and he still made it through. Now, granted, when it mattered most,
he's still, again, to the whole point of this,
he's still the GOAT.
He's still the GOAT because you got to put yourself in those situations.
And that's the thing. That's football. The football is designed the way that it is to bounce wildly and be unpredictable. Mm-hmm. That's the nature of football. And when shit hits the fan and everything goes crazy, Tom Brady is capable of finishing things and making it happen.
And this man went to a team in another conference and not just won a Super Bowl, but he took out the Saints. He took out the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. There's, and he flawless? No. But
also
he did that in year one. Now he did the LeBron James, I'm gonna be the GM and recruit all my buddies.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was a super team. Let's be honest. It was a super team.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You won't get any pushback from me. Yeah. That roster was insane.
It was a smart move despite Belichick though. Like I did it without you. Granted, I got the most insane front seven ever put together in football history. I still stand by that. Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea are the best run stoppers in it. Like they still don't allow anything. Jason Pierre-Paul.
You think that front was better than the Broncos front from 2015?
DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, solid. They didn't have the strength at D tackle. Vita Vea is generational in run stopping. Ndamukong Suh, 2009 Big 12 championship game. Greatest defensive college football player I have ever seen in my life, and I think I ever will. Also at linebacker, Levante David, physical specimen, freak for the position, and Devin White, physical specimen, freak at that position.
Yeah, and then they drafted Antoine Winfield. They hit in the second round on Winfield.
Yeah, the secondary was still bummy, but at the same time, like that
they
front
hit
seven,
enough players.
Yeah. I don't think that front seven's allowed a 100-yard game while fully healthy yet.
He pulled Gronk out of the grave.
Yeah, he pulled Gronk. Gronk was wrestling.
Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown to go along with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. Also, you have a guy like O.J. Howard playing a backup tight end position. You remember how special that dude was?
Godwin and Evans were coming off of leading the NFL in pass and being in the best aerial offense as it was. Like they were already putting up monster numbers.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
also, you drafted Tristan Wirfs, who's generational at tackle. You have one of the best centers in the league.
They hit on those two picks.
That team was crazy good. They're going to be, and if they keep I know they're not because Brady's leaving, so a lot of people are out of there. But
Eric said George Blanda retired at 48. But wasn't he punting though? I thought he was punting. Was he still actually playing quarterback back then? I know that they were smoking cigarettes on the sidelines still, but no disrespect to George Blanda.
Some Pall Malls or some Marlboros?
I don't know if he was still playing quarterback though.
Smoking Jay Cutler?
Oh, I got to look this up now that he said that. Because I thought he was like George Blanda in his 40s was just kicking. I didn't think he was still. We got the stats. Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, from 40, and Blanda had one start at quarterback between the age of 40 and 48. So I can't include George Blanda. No disrespect, man, but George Blanda was basically a full-time punter / kicker at that point. It's not the same thing. Tom Brady's playing at an MVP level still.
Yeah, exactly. That's the wild thing.
He
led the league in yards. He led the league in yards and touchdowns at 44 years old. Crazy. You know, it's also pretty tough, though. I'm not going to lie. Aaron Rodgers is going to go down as the most efficient passer of the football of all time. And I feel like he's not going to get remotely enough credit for what he was doing. Outside of, older Donald Driver and Greg Jennings, what weapons did he have other than, Devontae Adams is great. But
has he had a better career than Brett Favre?
Yes. 100%.
Are we sure about that?
Yes. Look at their numbers.
His numbers are better.
No, definitely. They both have a Super Bowl. They both got one early on.
Green Bay more than Brett Favre did for Green Bay is my question.
They've done the same, though. They've done the same. They both got Super Bowls early on in their careers. And then they went to the playoffs multiple times and disappointed. They both have done the same thing. But he statistically is way better and also has put them in positions to play for way more. He's been to conference championship after conference championship, and in multiple of those, they haven't been a good enough team. You know what I mean? They've been to multiple conference championships where they had no business even being on the same field. I'm sorry, him beating us, and I know we're a very inconsistent team, but him beating us, our 13-3 season, Zeke and Dak's rookie year was incredible. That was just a sheer, I'm going to will us to win this game, even though you guys are better than us almost everywhere. It's tough. And they got murdered by the 49ers, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
He's so special though. Still, I really want to see what he looks like on another team, to be honest with you. And I think
for longevity, I would rather see Tom stay retired and see Aaron go to a different team and see what happens.
Yeah. Imagine Aaron.
I am tired of Aaron Rodgers blaming everybody else for his shortcomings, though. I am tired of that. 100%. He just needs to own it.
Yeah. This year was inexcusable. You shouldn't have lost to 49ers at all.
Yep.
You should have done something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up because I got it. It's past midnight, and I appreciate everybody jumping on. I do like the Super Bowl matchup, and especially the way playoffs have gone. I think we've, touched on the star power that's there, the California connection that's there with this Rams team and the special team that is the Bengals now. So a lot of storylines that we're going to discuss over the next couple of weeks. Just for everybody, just to, first off, thank you. Make sure y'all are following Jimmy on social media, Texas State Johnson. There's his @ so follow him on Twitter. You guys keep up with Karen as well. He's got so many different projects going on: Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. He's all over the place. Twitter Spaces. We're always on the Spaces, staying up in the middle of the night talking. So all over the map. Please, show my guys some love and appreciate everybody coming in here. We will be doing a video on Texas basketball with Brad Kellner. Brad is in Kansas right now. He did go to the Chiefs game today. And Brad, quite frankly, Brad needs to be held accountable for his actions this weekend because Brad went to Kansas and Kentucky on Saturday, and Kansas gets obliterated at Allen Fieldhouse. And then Brad then goes to the Chiefs game, spends a fortune, and you saw what happened there. So I know, I feel really bad for him, but he's going to have to come on and take responsibility for that.
He's Teej level of danger for the state of Kansas.
Oh yeah, it's reached Teej level.
It's gotten to Teej level.
It's beyond Madden curse bad. It's not Teej levels bad.
Teej is we got to put him in solitary confinement. It's getting ridiculous. If you guys don't know, Les_humble Teej on Twitter is the most cursed individual I've ever seen in my entire life. He changes his Abby every single week. And let's go through what he's done this season, right? Or just football season in general, right? So first, he Texas was his Abby, and we lose to Kansas. Then afterwards, he's like, okay, I'm going to switch it to Georgia. Georgia gets blown out by Bama. Then afterwards, he's like, you know what? I'm a lifelong Bama fan. Bama then proceeds to lose
to Georgia.
Yeah, to Georgia. No, I'm sorry. He switched it to Michigan when they were playing Georgia. They lose, and then he switched it to Bama. Bama loses to Georgia. Then the NFL playoffs come around. And this month, I swear he lives out here in LA. When I see him, it's on site because he switched his profile pic to the Cowboys. The Cowboys then proceed to lose in the wild card round. Then he switches it to the Packers. The Packers proceed to lose in the divisional round. Now he switched it to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs just lost today. Tej is literally the most cursed individual, and I'm telling you right now, BUSR. Bring it up, Steven. Bring it up. BUSR. It's right there at the top right. If you guys want to make a bet, go follow the homie. I'm going to tell you to follow him. He's a hilarious follow. Les_humble Tej. Go to busr.com/fanatic and bet whoever is going against his profile pic because it hits every time. No one man should have all that power, and it is getting ridiculous. It's getting crazy. Tej is on a mission. He is a mercenary to destroy the hearts of all fan bases, and he's not going to stop until he's won.
Facts.
I'm telling you though, if he changes his profile pic,
the internet's
LA Rams,
Tej, though, because there's a lot of smoke today on Twitter about it.
Dude, if he changes his profile pic to the Rams and Joe Burrow wins the Super Bowl because of it, this man, I'm telling him to change it to every Texas opponent next season so I don't have to go through pain anymore. It's going to be the best thing ever. If we realize this, we're going to get Tej we're going to get Tej box suites at the damn stadium. We're just going to tell him, like, look, switch it. It's getting crazy, man. It's getting crazy. Shout out to Tej, though.
Shout out, man. Thank you guys for coming on, and y'all know where to go. That I couldn't do a better plug for BUSR than Kieran just gave. So y'all know what it is. We will have Brad Kellner on to answer for his sins, and then we'll break down Texas basketball.
It's gonna be hell.
We have a very emotional game coming up on Tuesday.
And Ric Flair will be in attendance.
Hopefully we can get the Undertaker when they come back. I think we're gonna have the Undertaker at our game when they come back. So it's a whole bunch of chaos going on between Texas and Texas Tech. Also, the other thing too, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this. Two other things. We will have special BUSR props and stuff for the Super Bowl, as well as promotions going on. So stay tuned on that. And the second thing is there are two individuals who we would be sitting down with, formerly of the Texas football team, who will be doing some content with, which I'm very, very excited to share with you guys and get their insights, and I think they might actually help us with a Super Bowl preview. So stay tuned on that as well. Guys, I appreciate y'all so much. Karen, Jimmy, thank you. It's always good rapping with the homies, especially after a great championship Sunday. And for everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much. Make sure you sub up, continue to help us grow this movement. Couldn't thank y'all enough. We're going to go ahead and end it here, and we'll see y'all later.
Peace.